Here we are on our Experience Cloud site. It's just a sample university that we're demoing for you today. And you can notice that we're not logged in. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this chat icon in the lower right hand corner, and you'll see that the University Service Agent has joined. And I'm going to ask it a basic question. When is the main library open? So we'll give it a second here to go through its knowledge articles and see the topics that closely match my question. And you can see here's the main library, and here's the hours for that, different branch libraries and when they're open, and the articles they post. You can see here it's giving us source references, so we know that we could click on this information and get further details. Now I'm going to show you our application process and how we can use Agentforce in that process. I'm going to close this. I'm going to fill out my details here. And we'll give ourselves an area of study, our starting semester, give ourselves a basic GPA, and then our high school. Next. And so now we can ask a question about financial aid. So pretty straightforward. Yes, I'm going to do financial aid. I don't actually know the answers to these questions, so let me go ahead and ask Agentforce. So I'm going to ask it, can you tell me how to apply for student aid? We'll give it a moment here to answer our question. So now that it's returned an answer for us, we can see the details here to apply for student aid. We need to fill out our FAFSA. Here's the details. Here's the things that we need to provide. Here's a step-by-step process. So it looks like I have to fill this out on a different website based on our knowledge article. So I'm going to say, yep, I want to be considered for financial aid here. I've not completed my FAFSA. Have my details here. I don't have anything to upload. So I'm just going to go ahead and submit this and say next. And now our application has been submitted. Okay, now that we're back, we've submitted our application. Maybe it's been a little bit of a delay and we want to come back and see where our application stands. So let's go ahead and ask Agentforce how our application is doing. Again, we're not logged in, so I'm going to fire up Agentforce and ask, what is the status of my application? Now you can see that we're not logging in, but we're just going to say what's the status of my application, and we're going to give it our email address. Now Agentforce is going to go send us an email, and we're going to get that code, and we're going to paste that code into the box here. So you can see now that we've submitted our code and now we've been verified and it addresses us by name, we can see the status of our application. This is when our application was submitted. You can see the status here, and it's telling us what are the next steps. So if we have any other questions, I don't think so. I think we're good now. So thanks. That's all for now. Now that we've finished our questions and we've said that's all we have for now, the agent has closed our chat. You can see it's left and that conversation has ended. And in the back end, our case has been addressed to us and it has been closed by the agent. Okay, so here we are in Salesforce, and you can see the case that was created, the messaging session that was the conversation we just had. You can see all the questions and back and forth. So what's the status of our application? We verified with our email and the code and everything. You can see there's an underlying case that was created as well. And that case was linked to our contact record once we were validated. And then you can see because the messaging session was closed and the agent left the conversation, everything was resolved. You can see that case was then closed.